Alright, so this is going to be a long video. I usually don't do long videos, but this is kind of important for someone like me who is, followed the zombie storyline for a long time. Uh, Yesterday was the DLC 5 reveal on JC Backfire's YouTube channel. Jason Blundell visited his apartment, which was really funny. Uh, but we got something yesterday, which I wasn't expecting at all. Mr. Rolf Waffles last year did a video. Him and Jason agreed that if they reach a certain number of likes, he would give a piece of intel. Well, that video is a couple months away from being a year old. Uh, so we kind of didn't know he was going to get it, but I don't think anyone was expecting that we would get this on the screen. I don't know how good this image is. It was the only one I could find on Google, so yeah, that'll have to do. But this is the complete zombies timeline, uh, which is insane. I mean, this answers every question that we've had. Well, there's a couple left out on here, like Group 601, which I was wanting to hear about. But anyway, uh, yeah, this is insane. I'm going to read a lot of the stuff on here. So whoever's watching this video, if you haven't looked at it, you can get a good idea, because if you're trying to get into the zombie storyline, this is good for you because you can literally read everything. Uh, this documents uh, like different versions of groups, different timelines, because this is the multiverse. So you're going to see multiple versions of Maxis. You're going to see multiple versions of the crew. You're going to see the transit crew. You're going to see Shadows of Evil. You're going to see Mob of the Dead. You're going to see everyone here. So I'm going to read this first one. I'm going to start off with the GOAT transit, because we all know transit's, the best map ever. It says October 21st, 2035, transit. Stillinger and Russman ran into Marlton and Abigail Misty Briarton at a diner near the Hanford site facility. Maxis asked him to complete the polarization device in his favor. Stillinger, having consumed zombie meat, is contacted by Richtofen, who orders Stillinger to construct the device for him instead. The crew constructs the device for Maxis. The four would become known as Victus. And when we first heard on this page of Victus, no one knew what we was talking about. But now we know that the transit crew is Victus. Ultimus is the original four, the 1.0 characters, Richtofen, Dempsey. Not the Origins Richtofen. The Origins, Richtofen, Dempsey, and all that, they're known as the Premise, because they are the original premise, which there is lots of quotes about in here, which I'm going to get to. But yeah, this transit stuff's interesting because we also learn something that I have been saying for a long time, which is Broken Arrow had a lot to do with transit. And we learned that on July 8th, 2025, Broken Arrow accidentally created the Avogadro. The Avogadro is the electric man that follows you on transit. April 10th, 2025, Broken Arrow creates the denizens. So we knew that. So we know that now. And I always said that. I always said that facility that the Avogadro is in, where you go turn on power. I always said that was Broken Arrow, because they was so mysterious, and I said there have to be something to do with that. Um, we even get the beginning of the world in this. In the beginning, there was only the ether and the keepers. Among them were two beings who would later be known by many names. One would be known as Dr. Monty, and the other as Shadow Man. So in the beginning, there was only the ether and the keepers, and with them was Dr. Monty and Shadow Man. Shadow Man, we also learned, gets corrupted uh, later on. So September 3rd, 5 AD. Knowing the planet has a gateway to Agartha, the Apothicons send meteors of Element 115 to Earth. They believe humanity will one day use Element 115 to wage war amongst themselves, opening a rift that will allow the Apothicons to escape the Dark Ether. Um, Mob of the Dead, you get this whole backstory about how they get captured. It also confirms that they were in Chicago. It talks about Sal's the store, whatever he opened there. Uh, so we learned that they were in fact in Morgue City, um, and it talks about how it shows their deaths. What's interesting though is after it shows their deaths, it says Mob of the Dead, Sal, Finn, and Billy. Sal, Finn, Billy, and Al battle waves of the undead as they find themselves trapped in a seemingly endless cycle. That's just interesting because there has been talks that the Mob of the Dead crew is in purgatory, for what they was doing, and it shows them die after before they talk about this, so that's interesting. Here's one of the ones where I kind of just, you know, it's kind of the lead up, I guess, to the comics. It's the manipulation of Stillinger. Having overseen the construction of a laboratory under Alcatraz, Richtofen returns to the house where he begins to communicate with Stillinger. Together, they persuade Victus to travel to a variety of locations to recover the Cornorium. That's just interesting. Uh, the summoning key. We learn about how this was created. The keepers craft the summoning key, a device that allows them to manipulate the ether, holding power over reality itself. They use it to create a Gartha. That's interesting. Really interesting, actually. Uh, let's see. October 13th, 2025. The Earth fracturing triggers further temporal rifts, teleporting an 1800s American Western town underneath a mining town in Angola. Arthur is pulled through the rift from 1318, arriving in the now buried town. Arthur, we learn in this that Arthur is Big Juicy and buried. He is Leroy. His name is Arthur, and just like in Der Eisendrache, which we all speculated on, he was the Wolf King's servant. Him and the Wolf King's wolf, they take his bones, scatter it, and bury it through Der Eisendrache. And then, hold on, if I can find the quote, I have a lot of these written down. If I can't, then here we go. September 19th, 1318. Honoring the Wolf King's dying request, his loyal servant Arthur scatters and buries his bones in the grounds of Der Eisendrache, accompanied by the King's wolf. September 20th, 1318, one day later, temporal rifts teleport Arthur to Resolution 1295 in 2025 Angola. Resolution 1295 is the name of buried. January 1st, 1300, before they seemingly disappear from history, Primus instructs the Wolf King to begin building Der Eisendrache. December 31st, 1299, together the Keepers and Primus defeat the Apothicons, bringing the Great War to its end. Here's one about Revelations, which was kind of interesting. With the Shadow Man and the Apothicons vanquished, Monty discovers that Primus has consumed the blood of souls from dimensions that no longer exist. The paradox must be resolved, with a bunch of periods, which is interesting. One of the big questions that everyone was asking was how Origins, the Primus version of Richtofen, originally got the blood vials. On June 4th, 1914, Richtofen is visited by another version of himself. Handing him some blood vials, he explains, "You will need this blood when the time comes. It will protect you," before stepping back through the rift. There's also a quote saying about how Richtofen steps through the rift or whatever. Let's see what else. Honestly, here's one that JC read on the. Well, he didn't get to finish it. Jason Blundell wouldn't let him finish it. July 4th, 1941. Richtofen returns to the lab under Alcatraz, which is still interesting, where he meets Victus, arriving from the empty Earth with the Cornorium. Upon reading the Cornorium, Richtofen discovers numerous timelines documenting their fates and learns about the blood vials. He would later write on the page, "I now know what I must do." Richtofen enters a rift to acquire the blood of Sal and Finn. After delivering the blood to his younger self, told you, and recovering the blood vials from Victus, he returns. Victus is placed on ice to be kept safe until they are needed next. July 4th, 1941, the same day, Primus arrives to collect the Victus blood samples from Richtofen. Following Primus' departure, Richtofen learns the location of the summoning key and travels to his next destination. January 15th, 1292, the Great War between humanity and the Apothicons begin. Yeah. So the empty Earth is during the comic when Transit give the blood and they are able to enter empty Earth. I don't know, dude. This is for someone, for someone like me. I've followed the zombie storyline for a long time. I still don't know everything. The zombie YouTubers, they don't know everything. No one in the zombie community knows everything. I guess up until now. Now we kind of understand almost everything. I mean, there's still some things, but definitely if you're trying to get into the zombie storyline, which again isn't easy, but this definitely will help. I never in a million years expected them to give us this because I always felt that they wanted to keep secrets. They wanted to, they wanted to uh, not give us everything. They wanted us to keep guessing about certain things. I guess Jason decided it was just went on long enough. I mean, for 9 years we've been wondering about a lot of these things. So yeah, that's you know maybe he's wanting to give us everything, and then in the next game we're going to have a new story. I mean, that could be it. That could be, or I mean, it doesn't really have to be a new story per se, just with new characters and going forward with everything we know now. He's always said he wanted to put brackets around it, and he's got some pretty good brackets now around the story because now we understand a lot. Um, Again, I mentioned Group 601 at the start of this video. A lot of people don't know who Group 601 is. You really have to be following the story closely to know who Group 601 is. They only made one appearance, and that was in transit. There was a picture that someone found, and it was the 935 logo, but the numbers wasn't 935, it was 601. We know nothing about them, and I was hoping to learn something about Group 601. Uh, and for them not to even be mentioned on this kind of even makes me think, are they even important? Because if they was somewhat important, um, a lot of people have speculated that Group 601 is a version of Group 935 in another universe. That's possible. Um, but yeah, I can make more videos about this. I also need to make a video about DLC 5 because that is confirmed. Xbox has to wait a month, which really, I need to make a video on that all by itself because that's really stupid. Anyway, I'm going to end this video here. The website for this, I think in order to view this, you have to, you can't be on a phone, I'm pretty sure. You have to be on a computer. And you have to go to callofduty.com/zombie chronicles. I'm pretty sure that's how you get to this. And you can zoom in. They give you like a magnifying thing and you can zoom in. Although it is hard to read because a lot of this stuff is upside down and you really have to turn your head. It's really annoying. But yeah, I'm going to end the video here. Hot dang, I guess. We got a timeline. The zombies community has a timeline now, so that's exciting. Hot dang.